Doha Airport late at night, where I'm about to try one of the classiest ways to travel from Europe to Australia, business class on Qatar Airways. Now, if you look around Doha Airport now, it's as if the pandemic never happened. Apart from a few masks, it's as busy as it's always been, with the new airport looking resplendent amid the travelling hordes. I had access to the Qatar Airways Mourjan Business Lounge, located in the south node up the escalators just off the main atrium of the airport. The lounge has been around for a decade or more now, but it's still a good one and is by far the largest and most opulent lounges at Doha Airport. The lounge is also vast at 10,000 square metres, so it's got enough room for over 1,000 passengers at a time. In the centre of the lounge is a central raised wooden stage with high upright chairs, separated by glass screens, from where there are more comfortable seats and sofas. Past the entrance to the lounge is a standout feature, the 15-metre infinity pool, next to a huge spiral staircase illuminated by a 5-tier crystal chandelier. The restaurant's up the stairs and I went up for dinner. There's a large dining room and waiter service, where staff insist on showing you to a designated seat. Sadly, most of the a la carte dining has been removed and there's now just a buffet with dishes in plastic containers or a QR code which shows a menu, but you still have to order in person. It's okay, but not exactly a classy affair. I tried to get a seat at the bar, but it was packed, so I ended up going to the other dining area via some of the seats on the ground floor. Beside each seat is a tablet from where you can access flight information and a map of the terminal. At the far end of this area is a bamboo garden with a glass wall through to the continental brasserie and buffet. There's a bar here, along with high buffet tables and more conventional seating. Despite the limited menu, I actually prefer this area. It is much quieter and there are some decent desserts, along with an excellent sandwich menu and a separate bar. Thankfully Ramadan wasn't on, so the bar was open. 1 month a year, Doha Airport is dry. The area around the front of the lounge can get packed, but at the back of the lounge there are always plenty of seats. I had some work to do, so went through to the normally excellent business centre. For many years it was good, but thanks to COVID all the computers have been removed and it just came across as a large empty room with a lot of desks. Time now to leave and back into the main terminal, which was quietening down a bit. Unlike the hypnotic LED screens and the giant teddy bear statue, which is just a little bit odd. Next up, I wanted to try the brand new Silver Lounge at Doha, replacing the quite awful Doha Business Lounge. Not that either lounge is for those actually flying in business class. The whole point is to offer those flying economy, but with frequent flyer status, a lounge. There are no signs at the entrance to let you know what the requirements are. However, it's for One World Emerald and Sapphire, plus Privilege Club Silver if you have that frequent flyer status on Qatar Airways. The Doha Airport Silver Lounge has clean lines with white walls and modern furniture. I found it large, light, open and bright. Dining area is functional, if not especially comfortable, with hot food and a full open bar, open 24 hours a day. Now soon it was time to board, so I walked up to the sea gates. With Qatar Boeing 777 aircraft now sporting the Qsuite with sliding doors in business, I was really looking forward to this flight, as it's one of the most private and upmarket ways to fly. Unlike at London Heathrow, where there were no priority boarding signs for business class, I pretty much walked straight on board, despite it being very busy, as this was the day that the Australian borders opened to all travellers. And there is our Boeing 777-300 series. There's a dedicated air bridge for business class. I walked up the air bridge and I was welcomed at the door and went pretty much straight to my seat. When Qatar Airways revealed its all-new business class suites with sliding privacy doors and middle seats which convert into a double bed, I was determined to experience it. The seat, dubbed the Qsuite by Qatar, gives a seat measuring 21 inches wide, which transforms the seat into a fully flat bed 79 inches long. In terms of personal space and sheer privacy, the seats can't be beaten. Every seat has a sliding door. Qatar Airways QSuites 777s feature a total of 42 business class seats. The business class cabin is divided into two. The forward cabin has a total of 24 business class seats, while the rear cabin is a little smaller with 18 business class seats. However, the rear business class cabin backs directly onto the front row of economy, and that has bassinet seats there, which can be a little noisy. Economy class is similar to most Boeing 777 cabins, with a seat pitch of 31 inches and a total of 257 economy seats. Sadly, on the new Boeing 777, Qatar have followed the trend and have gone for a 3-4-3 layout, which makes for a much more cramped cabin than the old 3-3-3 layout. However, the new economy seats have a vast seatback TV screen, USB charging ports, and a tray that folds into two. In business class, every leg section of every seat hooks into the cocktail table of the opposite seat. What Qatar have done is refreshing. They give you a seat with a buddy seat next to you and a cocktail table ahead of this. However, the seat itself has to alternate with every other seat facing backwards, and that can feel a little unusual. A menu and a wine list are at every seat as you board, and I was offered a glass of lime juice and a glass of champagne. Naturally, the champagne menu is quite comprehensive. There are a good set of seat controls to adjust the seat. In effect, it just slides up and down, but you can hit the preset button for takeoff, dining and sleep. The menu's a little confusing. At first glance, there are just a long list of meal choices, but little to separate them. This is because Qatar make much of their dine-on-demand offering in business class. You can literally order whatever's on the menu at any time you choose, so there's no real set order of first, mid-flight and second meal. Qatar Airways have partnered with London-based luxury home goods brand The White Company to provide designer sleeper suites to their business class passengers. The small buddy seat beside your seat doubles as a stowage area, accessed by lifting up the seat base. The man's sleeper suit is designed in a charcoal grey marl and comes with matching luxury cotton slippers with a fox fur interior sole for extra warmth and comfort. The stowage area has a water bottle, headphones and space for your pyjamas. Next to the seat controls, there's also a hotel-style Do Not Disturb button, which changes the colour of the seat light from white to red, indicating your wish to be left alone. There's also a large remote with a screen as well. This can show the in-flight map when you're watching the main screen, but oddly, when the tray table is down, it completely blocks it. Along with this surprising piece of bad design, the in-flight map is hard to use. There's a brief glimpse of the map, and then you have to watch a minute of adverts before you get a 10-second glance at the map again. It's horrible and by far from a business class experience. So there we go, takeoff out of Doha. You can hear those enormous General Electric GE9X engines spool up. I was glad I had a window seat despite the dark. Qatar famously don't allow business class passengers on Qantas redemptions to book seats in advance. However, you can bypass this using another airline site, which allowed me to choose a window seat in advance. Well, today we're going to be routing pretty much straight down through the Gulf, over India, Indonesia at dawn, Australia around Broome, over the sandy desert, Alice Springs and straight into Sydney. Now each seat has a large, high-definition 21-inch video touchscreen which is genuinely good. The noise-cancelling headphones by comparison are anything but. Large and clunky, they do a remarkably poor job of keeping out engine noise. The headphone socket, it's easy to find below the cocktail tray. Next to this is the power socket and a USB charging socket. I was looking forward to checking out the new Qatar Airways Business Class amenity kit, created by French perfume house Diptyques. The new amenity kit is only for the ultra-long haul routes and comes with a decent wash bag. The amenity kit now features a range of skincare products, including a lip balm, hydrating facial mist, and essential face cream. The kit also includes socks, eye shades, and earplugs. Well, it's time for cocktails, and I went Caribbean with a rum and coke called a Cuba Libre with cola, white rum over ice, and lime juice on top. The crew were keen to crack on with the meal service. I started off with the soup of the day, which today was Tom Yum soup and was delicious. Make it even better are the trio of rolls that Qatar serve, with 3 types of bread in one roll. The soup had a light, delicate flavour and went well with a Sauvignon Blanc. To go with the bread is Montevibro olive oil. All meals are brought individually from the galley after tablecloths have been laid, and even better, the lovely touch of a candle in an Arabic holder on the table, along with salt and pepper pots and a full selection of silver cutlery. The main appetizer was traditional Arabic meze. Again, it was superb and came with a lovely bowl of Arabic bread, plus hummus and tabbouleh. Passing Abu Dhabi now, Dubai over the left wing. The meal with the little electric candles on the table really looks the part, and it's such a change from Qatar just a couple of months ago when COVID was on and meals were heavily pared back and very basic. Although you can dine when you want to, because we were boarding in the evening, almost every passenger asked for the main meal service as soon as we were into the cruise, so they could get some sleep and adjust to Australian time as soon as possible. I moved on to red wine for the braved coco bocco with onion mash and beef juice. This is a very tender beef crosscut shank, braised in a rich red sauce with a lovely mash and an assortment of veggies from broccoli to carrots. Now, normally I love a coco bocco, but although the beef was lovely, there were only tiny scraps of meat surrounding the enormous bone. It was all a little bit odd actually, but the purple sprouting broccoli was a great touch. Red wine included the superb Chateau Lynch Mossas Grand Cru 2014 from France. The cheese plate was as good as ever with the usual Qatar selection of cheddar, Edam, blue and goat's cheese plus Krenex, lavash and chutney. Port, meanwhile, is Dow's 20-year-old Tawny Port. Other wines on the list included 3 whites with the standout Louis Jadot Chardonnay Cru 2017 with Champagne de Marcherarat from the Crotte Blancs. It's got hand-picked grapes and intense fruity flavours. The crew consistently addressed me by name and, quite unusually for an airline, didn't mind if I changed wine to suit each course. On some airlines, the crew have just one space on the menu to list what you want to drink for the duration of the flight, not on Qatar. The San Sebastian burnt cheesecake was fantastic, one of the best desserts I've had on a plane in a very long time. There was, of course, dessert wine, which was a perfect pairing. In this case, it was a Noble Late Harvest 2018 by Nederberg. Indeed, it's well worthwhile browsing the volumes of the wine list with 2 champagnes, 3 whites and 3 reds.
We were
now well past the Gulf and heading for India, so sleep beckoned. There's a full turn-down service with a mattress topper. You just have to ask the crew. The turn-down service on Qatar Airways involves putting a mattress topper over the seat, which can remain upright. This is a good move, as it means you can get cozy in bed watching the telly before sliding down into bed mode. The crew will also put a pillowcase over the pillow that's at your seat during boarding, and there's a second pillow if you want to wedge yourself into the seat. It all makes for a very cozy night. Now, while my bed was made, I headed to the bathrooms. Qatar Airways has 2 huge bathrooms between the business class cabins on the 777, plus 2 more smaller ones at the front of the cabin. Qatar Airways crew consistently keep the bathrooms in pristine condition, and they're quite nicely appointed anyway. After a few hours kip, we were well over the Bay of Bengal, and I was keen to move straight onto brunch mode. The menu offered some light bites mid-flight, and I decided to try the croque monsieur with jardier salad for breakfast, and a cup of tea and champagne. It's just what I needed to starve off the hunger pangs, with soft sourdough, lightly toasted Gruyere cheese, and an inner filling of smoked ham and creamy mustard mayo. Out of the window, Jakarta was on the left and Christmas Island on the right. Also on offer on the menu was afternoon tea, nasi goreng or basic garden salad. After a few more hours, the incredibly remote Cunningham Islands came into view, and then we flew over the coast of Australia just north of Broome. It's one of my favourite spots in Western Australia. However, Qatar were only offering the proper breakfast now, and it was already 3 in the afternoon local time. I've been up for hours, so I was determined to turn my breakfast into a kind of dinner. For a starter, there was assiette of cold cuts with salmon, plus caperberry, goat's cheese with chives, tomato, and a boiled egg. Now, an assiette is also used to showcase the versatile ways you can cook and serve meats, and in a traditional French style too. It can be wonderful. It's a great way to start the day. Sadly, this was the one dish where Qatar really disappointed. Tasteless, poor cuts of meat, bad salmon, and I had to return most of it to the galley. The crew came around to take orders, and I went on to the Greek yogurt and strawberry compote, which was remarkably good. Now, down below, the beaches looked fantastic, as indeed did the menu. The meal service was still very traditionally Arabic, and to move more into dinner mode, I rather oddly went for the traditional Arabic breakfast with fowl madams and feta. I'm not too sure about those large lumps of feta, which are a little bit oddball, but it was very good nevertheless. It was served with a very basic green salad and a huge bowl of olives. As it was breakfast, a crew also brought around fresh croissants and breakfast marmalade, but of course there was traditional Arabic bread as well. On now over Australia, and a real delight seeing it in daylight. The remote detaches so you can watch it even when the main tray table is down. Well, there you go. There are the complex set of seat controls. Another button on the console illuminates a laptop slot. This slot below the cocktail tray is a rather unique feature of the seat. A large laptop fits in here perfectly. There's another light button, this time on the remote, which illuminates the overhead lights. To the right of the recharging socket, there's a contactless reader used to talk to your phone. If you use the Qatar Airways app on your smartphone before the flight, it will load up your selected playlist on the in-flight entertainment system. There are plenty of lights in the suite, although all of them are a little dim. Above your head is a reading light, and the button switches between 3 brightness levels and a very low-level overhead nightlight. Well, an hour or so after the main meal, the crew came through the cabin, tidying up, and then we were well into the descent into Sydney. The crew ended the service by handing out chocolates. Did watch some of the films on board as we headed slowly towards Sydney. The Qatar Airways in-flight entertainment system has a selection that's vast, with over 100 movies, television series, music and games. However, I have heard some passengers saying there isn't that much to watch. That's because you have to explore through the A to Z list to see what's loaded. It's quite hard to see and find a film you want. If you just scroll through the blockbusters section, for example, there are only a dozen listed. You have to delve into sub-menus to see everything that's available. A surprise as well is there's no live TV. Most airlines have fitted this by now, with live rolling news channels. Distinct oddity not to have it on Qatar. We've got Sydney coming into view, and I was rather unprepared for the way we initially circled in regional New South Wales before being permitted closer to Sydney, and then had to circle for another 45 minutes. Heavy flooding rains were the problem on the approach, along with lots of cloud and a lot of traffic. Checked out the Wi-Fi too. You can get 1 hour of free Wi-Fi just for messaging. However, on the latest version of Qatar's 777s, it's changed. You now only get 1 hour free if you're a Privilege Club member. Otherwise, it's $10 for the entire flight. I did, however, find that Wi-Fi is slow to a crawl for about the first hour of the flight, as everybody used up their free hour. But by the time we were over India, speed improved a lot. On the day I was travelling was to be the day when Australia would finally open up to the world and permit any international traveller entry quarantine-free after 2 long years of closed borders. The difference between my flight on Emirates a few months ago and now was decidedly marked. Then I had to get special permission from the government to board an aircraft. Making it all the more complicated was a change in Australia for a move to a long, detailed digital passenger declaration form that replaced the existing Australia Travel Declaration web-based form just a day before I flew. It was noticeable at the gate that some passengers had filled in the wrong form, which wasn't accepted. Others had no form at all, and the number of passengers filling out the form on their phone at the gate in Doha was quite remarkable. Thankfully, I've got an Australian passport, paper copy of the new ATD, so I got straight on board at the time. As we came into Sydney, I had time to reflect on the whole Qatar Airways experience in business class on the new QSuite. Now, you do get a wonderful feeling of privacy in the new seat, which makes up for the slightly claustrophobic atmosphere. It's comfortable, with great in-flight entertainment, although admittedly some of the movies are a bit lacking, and lots of places to stow baggage and electronic items around you. Each seat has high walls, which appear quite similar to the first-class suites of airlines like Emirates, Etihad Airways and Singapore Airlines. To achieve this level of privacy in business class is amazing, and no wonder the seat was in development for 3 years. The doors to the suites are 135 centimeters high, being high enough to keep the seat quite private, but low enough to ensure the crew can see in. That means they can seamlessly offer drinks and meals when you need it. The doors are manually operated and open quite easily with a finger touch, as they're quite light, with a solid plastic and foam construction in Qatar's signature deep purple. The middle seats are unique. A staggered 1-to-1 layout allows every second pair of middle seats to become a double bed, and the divider removed. However, only every other seat does this. The middle seats alternate, so in the next rows they're distinctly separated. The alternating rows have another unique feature. The video screens between each middle row can slide back, so that 4 passengers can enjoy what's called a family room cabin on the aircraft. That really is unique. Still, there we go. Time to hop off out of the aircraft and into the main arrival hall. I found something of a party atmosphere. There were hundreds of people waiting to welcome home many people who hadn't been able to travel to Australia at all for the past 2 years. I also went home, having thoroughly enjoyed my flight on Qatar Airways.